Hey everyone, welcome back to this week's show. I have a special guest this week. I am introing you all, my tribe, to someone who is near and dear to my heart. Her name is Robyn. Say hello to everyone, Robyn.
Hi.
So this is Robyn McIntire. She is someone who I trust so much when it comes to my health. She is going to be a featured health expert for us. I'm going to have her on the show every once in a while. We were just having a convo, and I was literally like, you know what? Every single time I talk to you, Robyn, I am thinking I want everybody to hear this stuff because I talk to women all day long who we talk about these kinds of things, and you're my expert. Like, you're the one person I trust so much when it comes to my health. And I've listened to you for over 20 years. Okay. You are someone, the reason I adore you so much and trust you is, have you ever gone, like, okay, I'm sure people listening can relate to this, but have you ever gone to like a so-called expert or a professional, and then you look at them and you're like, why am I really listening to them? Like, they don't look healthy, right? Have you ever gone to the gym and somebody that is a trainer there that's working is out of shape, and you're like, what the heck? This is like the Twilight Zone. Or a very, very normal one is you go to the medical community, like healthcare, and someone like the nurse or the doctor, you can totally tell they're not healthy, yet they're the expert telling you what to do with your health. So it's like super backwards. But anyways, you're the opposite. You are this beautiful goddess. You are, how old are you?
Thank you. I'm 40.
You're 40 years old.
Almost 41.
You're almost 41 in December.
Yep.
And you look very, very young. Your skin is glowing. Your hair is beautiful. Your body is amazing and fit. Like, every time I see Robyn, I like pull up a chair and I like put my hands on my face, and I'm like, okay, what are you doing? And I am like her student, and I get on a note paper. Seriously, you guys, like, I'm not kidding. I get out a pen and a paper when Robyn's in my presence, and I start writing down. I'm like, what are you eating these days? What are you drinking? And I just want to like copy whatever it is you're having. It's like, I'll have what she's having, right? But anyways, we were just having a conversation, and I was like, you know what, Rob, I want people to hear this. So can we just push record? So we did, and here we are. So we were talking about, what were we talking? Oh, how people, how they push themselves too far and get their muscles too sore. So Robyn, tell people a little bit about what you do and your history, and then let's go to that subject because it's really interesting, and it will apply to a lot of people that are listening as far as they're exercising and pushing themselves too far. But first, tell us what you do and who are you?
So I'm a health coach, and it started when I did injury massage, and then I studied nutrition, and then I went to yoga school, and I just continued growing and doing injury prevention for with weightlifting and all sorts of different spinal clinics, working with doctors and chiropractors and physical therapists to help people prevent injuries or heal from pre and post spinal injuries or car accident victims, workman comp injuries, and so, but my biggest passion is just to help people to get to work out on their own and to feel healthy on their own. Um, because so many people don't know where to begin, or they push it themselves too far. I was just telling Jen, we've all seen the person that January 1st, they're going to the gym and they haven't worked out in 5 years, but now they're running on a treadmill and they haven't run in 5 years or more. Like, even to get the mail when, it's late or when they're on their way somewhere. So all of a sudden they're running on a treadmill and they haven't run in years, and that's not where we start. And so they overdo it. They're sore for 5 days, they have so many issues, and then they don't go back to the gym. And that's like the typical January scenario, why people don't last continuing to work out in after January. By February, all of those people have fallen off because they were so pumped and so excited, but they just had the wrong plan, and so it didn't continue for the rest of the year.
So they either way overdo it or way underdo it. But
Right.
what's funny is on that, I remember, so Rob and I were just talking because she's got me going on a plan, right? And honestly, you guys, I walk like a mad woman. That is my thing. I'm into the yin exercise. You got the yin exercise and the yang exercise. The yin is very gentle. It's yoga. It's walking. Yang exercise, which I used to be way more into, is like the running. It's like more intense, right? The aerobics classes, the weights and all of that, right? Well, I have not been doing weights for a long time, and I know it's really important for my age, especially, right, to be doing weights. Well, probably for everybody, but she had me start doing weights last week on my workout program, and I was freaking sore. And she was like,
but not too sore.
But not too sore.
But the perfect
amount. You're right. The perfect amount of sore. And I want you to tell people what that is in a moment, but it makes me think as we're talking about this, I remember when I was in high school, I used to go to the gym, and I was probably like 17 years old. And there was this weightlifter dude, and I'm sure he was trying to impress me, like some old guy, right? Trying to impress me at the gym. And he calls me and my friends over and is like, hey, come here, I'm going to show you some things. And now, like, as a mom, I'm like, ooh, stay away from, you know what I mean? But anyways, he was like, he had us do these different weights, way, way, way too much, right?
Yeah.
I could not walk. I'm telling you, like, I literally had to, like, when I went to my classes the next week, literally the next week, I think that was on the weekend. I went to my classes the next week. I was in so much pain. I had a usual like aerobics class in high school that I took, and I couldn't work out. And my teacher was so mad at this dude. She was like, what in the, because I told her what had happened. She was like, that jerk, like, he just way overdid it trying to impress this young girl, but I literally for days, and I think it was a good, oh man, good week at least, that I was in so much pain it was hard to even walk up and down the stairs.
Oh, you totally overdid it.
Yeah.
And you're lucky you didn't like injure your joints or really do something wrong.
Yeah.
Because obviously you weren't prepared for that heavy of weightlifting or the form that it was putting you in.
Mm-hmm. So you
Not
say,
good.
how do people know whether it's like, because you also
right amount.
You want to work out and you want to feel something. I love feeling like a little sore. I'm like, yes, that feels good. I worked out. I actually had some movement, some growth, but you don't want it to be too much. So tell people, how do they know?
Right. So ideally you shouldn't be sore more than 3 days. If you're sore, if you wake up and you're sore day 4, that is your immediate answer that you way overdid it and you ripped, as we do weightlifting or push-ups, body movement, pull-ups, then you are ripping and rebuilding the muscle to design it to be stronger. And so ideally, you shouldn't be sore any longer than 72 hours from that time that you worked out. So if you worked out at noon on a specific day, then noon or at 1 o'clock the 3 days later, you shouldn't be sore anymore. And there's some things that can help with that. You can walk to get rid of lactic acid. That's helpful. If you're really sore, walking the next day will help you a lot because you get your circulatory system moving, your blood flows moving. And then you're getting rid of some of that lactic acid buildup that swells to where you feel like you're walking stiff after doing a weightlifting.
So that's what happens when you weight lift. You're putting lactic acid into, or you're building up lactic acid, which is what's happening with the muscles, and that's why you get sore. Is that right?
You are ripping and rebuilding the muscle to be stronger.
Mhm.
And those little micro tears in the muscle will build it to be stronger if you're having some protein to recover and you're not overdoing it. You're not ripping the muscle so much that you're damaging the joint, and really overdoing it. So, but basically, ideally, you should be sore 72 hours or less. And then you'll know if you're doing the right amount.
So
So you,
what else will
you
help? So walking, what else?
a recovery drink, if you're having a healthy protein drink within 15 minutes of that weightlifting, or within, whether it's a hard workout with push-ups, pull-ups, any muscular impact, or, as you were saying, any stressful high impact, or because there are exercises that add stress to the body. Weightlifting does add a small amount of stress to the body, but when we add a small amount of stress to the body, it can adapt it to be stronger, as long as it's too much. So that's kind of the overall goal by adding stress to our bodies with a little bit of impact, like light jogging, um, eventually some running once you're strong enough, doing a little bit of even eventually plyometric workouts where you're jumping into jump squats, but that's like much later down the road when you've been working out for a long time. Then you add in more impact, and then it doesn't affect you negatively, versus when you haven't worked out for a long time and then you go right to high impact workouts, you're too sore, you rip too much muscle, and then people don't go back to that workout because when you have to take a week to recover, it has not given you more energy at all.
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
it's taken too much energy from you. Exercise in the right form gives you energy throughout the day. But that's a good way to know too. Like, if you've overdone it, you're going to be too tired to continue your week or your day. And the idea is that the exercise and the movement gives you more energy for work, for your family, for, playtime, for whatever it is that you have on your plate. Because who has time to work out 5 hours a week and then have no energy for anything else? Nobody, unless that's your one prime job, is to be like a stunts person.
Yeah. 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 That's one thing I love about you is your approach is very, very reasonable. When you're like, who has time for that, right? You basically get into my world and say, you look at what is happening in my world and how can I be successful. And that's one thing I love so much about your approach. It's not like, hey, come here and I'm going to tell you what I know and what I do. In fact,
Right.
it's very similar to how I coach. My job when I look at my life coaching is not to tell everybody what I know and how I
Right.
do things. My job is to get into their world, see what they specifically need and how can they be successful. That's
Yeah.
to me a good coach, someone that isn't like, hey, come to me and I'm going to tell you all the things I know and this is how I do it, and trying to um, make people be a certain way, but more so meeting them on that bridge and helping them, like guide them, right? And walk the journey with them. And so with you, it's like, you'll say, hey, Jen, I like champagne or wine, or, I like to go out and have a cocktail every once in a while. And so you're not like, oh, no, you can't ever do that, right? And you
Right.
show me how I can just change my lifestyle and my certain habits, some that aren't good, some that are better, and how I can really use those to benefit and be successful in my life. So I love that so much about you and your approach.
Thank you. That's very kind and gracious of you as well. But ultimately, as a coach, our job is to get somebody from point A to point B. So if you take away all the things they enjoy, like wine and coffee and, whatever it is, then the odds of you getting them here are really low, because they're going to be so depressed over here, and they'll be so hyper focused on what they don't have that they won't be able to see what they could have over here. And so I try to get people to envision what they could have more than what they don't have over here. And if that means, letting them have a little bit of wine in the process or coffee in the process, great. Let's get on the right road, on the right journey. We can always slow those things down later. And I think, a lot of it's psychologically, obviously, getting people to believe in themselves, getting them to understand just the simple steps, because fitness is layers, and you can't get to level 10 with skipping the first 9 levels. You just can't get there. And that's kind of the scenario I was talking about with, New Year's Day, how everyone's like, I'm going to go to the gym and I'm going to run on the treadmill, and you don't get to running until you're at like level 6. So I don't have people running until they've built muscle around their joints and tightened their joints enough, and they're more balanced, so they don't have severe muscular imbalances, and they start running and they blow a knee, or they pull their hamstring and or tear their Achilles, and then they're out another year. Like, what hope does that give people? So just get them to move in the right direction, which is super simple. Like starting with walking and light weightlifting and a little bit of the right stretches and movements for them. And as you said, everyone's totally different. So having one approach to weight loss or nutrition or weightlifting, some people can't even do weightlifting. Some people have, severely hypermobile joints or injuries to the point where they don't start with weightlifting for 2 years. So it just depends. Everyone's unique. And we all have our health journey. We all have our life coach journey, business journey, as you do as well. And we're not all starting in the same place. So if I have somebody that already works out really well, then I can just help them to get to the level that they're close to, that next level. Or whether it's with nutrition, I just try to add to their journey, not give them too much that is confusing.
Yeah. Another thing that I think is so refreshing about being around you and your approach is you truly enjoy living a healthy lifestyle. You love it. It's not like something that is that you're militant about it and you're like, you have to do this, or, oh gosh, I have to get my workout in. Like, this is a way of life for you. You enjoy healthy eating. You enjoy food. You enjoy food a lot. When I'm with Rob, it's so fun because she'll literally like go whip up something healthy and then just come set it down in front of me and be like, here, you're taking this. And this is another good thing about you is you are a bit bossy, and that is important when you have a coach, because you need someone strong enough to tell you what to do, right? Sometimes when it's like, come on, let's move this,
right?
But not in the sense where I joke when I say that very lovingly, because you do it in a very gentle and loving way, and it's always delightful. Everything you always make, you enjoy good food, and it's not only delicious but also very, very good for you.
Yeah, I definitely, obviously food is fun if it tastes good, and so I prefer to have high nutrient dense food that's actually delicious and, savory as well, because then it's a win in all areas. Like, we all have had the meals that are, the burger and French fries, or the nacho night, and the heavier meals where it tastes great, but then the massive amount of guilt and then the bloat starts, and you're like, that is a win with our mouth, but it's a lose-lose, because then we're wearing it and we're inflamed, and we're probably swollen from too much salt, sodium, and we just don't feel well. And so it's definitely a win-win if the food can taste amazing, have high nutrient benefit for your body. You're getting the right balance of protein, carbs, nutrients, fruits and vegetables, and then you literally, it's like guilt-free, delicious food. And so that's obviously ideal. If all of us could have a private chef cooking for us all the time and just putting food in front of us, kind of like you described, like how our mind would stay totally out of it, and we would never have to decide what we're having, because delicious food would just show up right in front of us. All of us would make good decisions, right? Or the likelihood that we're making better decisions, like 75% of the time, would be pretty high, right? So I try to prepare for that. I know that we all know ourselves. We know at 3 o'clock, we're going to be craving something. Or
Yeah.
what's your time? Mine is usually like 3 o'clock. I've gotten through a lot of my day and it's like 3 o'clock, I'm going to be craving something. And it's usually I want sugar or cookies or something to that level. And so if we prepare for those cravings that we all have certain either salty or sugary cravings. If we prepare for that, then we have some easy recipes, or we have the foods that we're going to reach for instead of the higher caloric, nutrient deficient foods. We don't want those in our lives or in our houses very often. Then we can really set ourselves up for success, and then we have more energy, and it's just this like cycle that continues. So it is really fun to have great tasting food, and to feel good and have no guilt too, because that's a big piece of it. I love being able to eat good, delicious food, but not at the cost of my health and my waistline. No thanks.
Mhm.
So it's a balance in all of it. And it's a journey for each of us. And, living in America is super challenging, like one of the most challenging places to live, because we have FOMO everywhere. There are if we have food FOMO everywhere we go. You go into an office and you bring your own clean lunch and you're like, I did good today. And then, your neighbor brings donuts in. And it's like,
Yeah, or they're like going out to like this amazing place for lunch or something, and you're eating your healthy lunch in the office. Yes, absolutely.
But, and then we're inundated with the commercials constantly, or these ads like, oh, you have to do the latest Jack in the Box taco, the latest, Taco Bell, or the latest Starbucks Frappuccino that's freaking 2,000 calories worth of sugar and fat and no nutrients in any of it. And so we're just continued to be brainwashed into focusing on all of these foods that have no nutrients for us whatsoever. And we've got to have a hand in our own brainwashing with that and bring foods around us that are life-giving.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. When you say Starbucks, like, talk about trendy, where people think like they think that it's, this cool thing to do is go and get a Starbucks. In fact, I'll have to have you talk to Mia, because I've been I told her the other day, I was like, seriously, like, this is like the McDonald's of coffee, and like, meaning, and she goes, what? No, it's not. I'm like, yeah, no, it really is. And she has this order. You would flip if you heard her order. She doesn't get very often, but I told my kids, I don't know why I did this, but I was like, hey, we're gonna have a fun year. It's their first year back to school after being homeschooled for a couple years. And I was like, every Monday and every Friday, I will take you and I'll get you a treat. If you
There you go.
if you do good for you know what I mean? Like, if you have a good attitude about doing all your work and just showing up, right?
Yeah.
And so it was just something to look forward to. Well, her go-to is she wants to go to Starbucks. And this order that she has, I had to literally study it because I'm in the drive up and I'm like, what the heck is that order? and I had to try to remember this order. And I told her, you can't have sugar for like 2 weeks if you have this, because this is like 2 weeks worth of sugar in one drink, right? And then
Oh, wow.
and then there's like, you talk about the commercials, and I know we could do a whole segment on this, and
Right.
we'll wrap this up in a sec, but commercials, like literally they have neon food. The food is neon, you guys. Like, it's not meant to be neon. If your food
Right.
is neon orange, it's not meant to be eaten. So pretty interesting times we live in, for sure, but it is something. You're right. I hear people say that they come back from other countries and they're like, oh my gosh, my stomach didn't hurt, like I was able to eat pasta or bread or these different things that here, if they eat it, their stomach is just bloated and hurts so bad for a long time.
Yeah.
So really interesting. But I could talk to you all day long. We're gonna wrap this up really quick, but I am gonna have Rob on as a regular. I'm gonna bring her on every once in a while because there's so much information. She's such a wealth of knowledge, honestly. Like, this girl knows her stuff. And we could learn so much from her. I don't want to overwhelm everybody because it really, really is like drinking from a fire hose listening to her, because she knows that much. And it's really, really awesome. But you got some nuggets today. I want to hear what people's questions are. So what are your health questions? Send me your questions. Another thing about Robyn is, of course, she knows all about working out, but the big part of what we talk about when we're together is nutrition. It's like, what would you say it is? What percentage would you say it is for weight loss and health? Like 90%? Like, as far as, you know, most, like the percentage of you being fit is how much your nutrition?
How much of weight loss is nutrition?
Yeah.
All of it.
All of it.
All of it.
Okay, there we go.
You
Yeah.
can't out a bad diet. You just can't. There's no amount of working out that will get rid of a bad diet. So our weight is specific to the calorie intake we have and the foods that we're having. For like 99% of people, I would say that fall into that category of the law of thermodynamics, where you have calories in versus calories out equals your weight. So
Yeah.
That is usually 100% for most people. Now, there are a very few people that fall into a like super high cortisol levels or super high hormonal imbalances, and their body can't lose weight for certain reasons. But the majority of weight loss and our body fat percentage is from our diet. So
Yeah.
working out without changing your diet is not a good idea. That's why my number one to thrive is nutrition. You have to have your nutrition dialed in. And I have a list of what I want people to do and accomplish in order for them to fully be thriving. And number one is nutrition, because literally whatever we put into our body, we end up being. And so we end up feeling really lethargic and exhausted and tired when our organs can't detox, the high amounts of processed foods that we're putting in. And so our energy levels can really give and tell us a lot about whether we're balanced or not. And it's so much easier to lose weight based off of nutrition than it is working out. If you're just trying to work out, because working out usually makes you hungrier. So then you add more calories to your body. So I've done full weight loss plans where I've actually had people not work out at all because they've had to lose a specific amount of weight before they could work out. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
For their heart, for their body to be able to even do cardio. So
Mhm.
weight loss depends on how much we're talking, and it's different per person. Obviously, if you can work out and you don't have any, diabetes or heart disorders, then obviously we're supposed to be working out, walking 5 days a week. Minimum of working out would be walking 5 days a week, and then you can add on that as you go. But nutrition is huge. It's kind of everything with weight loss.
Yeah. So it's like you are what you eat, right? And Rob sent me, she says, Jen, do you want to be a Volkswagen Bug that you push up the hill, or do you want to be what did you say, a Porsche or a Ferrari? A Ferrari. That's right. She sent me
Yeah.
this picture. I was like, okay, yeah, I don't want to be a Volkswagen Bug. I'd rather be a Ferrari. But anyways, okay, everyone. So send me your questions if you have questions for Rob. I'm gonna have her back on, and we're gonna answer any of those questions. I would love to be able to ask her these. We will hit more on nutrition going forward because I love to hear that from you. There's just so much greatness there. So, anyways, thank you for coming on today, Rob, and thank you for listening, everyone. We'll see you next week. Bye for now.
Thanks.
Yes.